guys aren't here tonight, but pretty much everybody from Calabogie that said they're going to Calabogie is here.
I thought we
All
were
right,
doing.
they're 4 minutes late. Let's go on with it.
Yep, agreed.
Okay, so I got the first part of this. I have the easy part. I should be no more than about 10 minutes, and then we'll turn it over to Caroline, and she can teach you how to be a ski instructor in 2D, and then later on in the month you can do some ski lessons with her in 3D, and there will be snow by then. Okay, Netiquette. Keep your microphone off unless we don't have that many people. Cameras on. Just want to see that you're still awake, but I can only see about half of you at a time. So half of you can go to sleep, but you don't know who that is. Have any questions? Absolutely just interrupt me and ask the question. You don't have to put your hand up. Don't do anything else. Just ask your question. You can use the chat if you want to, but we're a small group, so feel free to break in. Session's being recorded. It's just there's a few people that won't be here, and those other 4 that are coming to Edelweiss will catch them with the video as well. So there's 3 levels of organization within CADS. And this is really aimed at the first time people, because you probably haven't been with CADS. I'll let you introduce yourself. I got about 2 slides and we'll do a quick introduction, but just want to let you know. So at the top level, there's CADS National, who look after the snow line, the registration system, which is a absolutely brilliant system. You should have all signed up by now, and for the coordinators in the programs and putting people together in matchups and paying, it is phenomenal. I hope we have that for years and years to come. Every year that you sign up, it's easier and easier. They are also, they're the guys that look after the certifications. So we have course conductors and trainers that can do it, but National is the one that sets the level for the qualifications, has the information that you were given already, all the training manuals, all of everything that you need is done by CADS National. We at the next level down, the course conductors, we just present it. We use what they give us to teach, and they are the owners of the way we teach. So below that are a bunch of levels. I think just a show of hands, how many people even know what CADS NCD is? 2 hands, 3 hands. NCD is what the individual programs, Calabogie, Ski Hawks, Edelweiss, Cascade, who else am I missing? Pakenham, and the Winter Sports Clinic all belong to CADS NCD. So NCD is just a parent organization. They have the treasurer for everything. And it actually works out very well for most of us having them above us. So even though we are all 5 programs under CADS NCD, we are all just a little bit different. We all teach a little bit different. We all do things a little bit differently. We try and standardize, and that's what you'll see at this course, where most of us as course conductors will teach the same thing, but we will say slightly different things. But don't get overly concerned if somebody says something a little bit different than somebody else, or we don't say the exact same thing that's in the manual. All means the same thing. And if you guys say edging and you mean something else, and we understand what you're trying to portray, all good. And you'll get to that with the ski part of it. Anything on there? Any questions? Too basic. Okay, so you are right here. You are at the first level of ski instructing. There are actually 4 modules, of which we will do all of them in January, 2.5 hours or whatever it takes. If you're at Calabogie, you get a little bit more time. So there's 3 and 4 track, the visually impaired, sit ski module, which is a very, very, very basic sit ski. Basically, if you can get somebody on and off, help get somebody on and off a lift, go down the hill, make 1 turn with somebody in the bucket to a stop, that is what a level 1 is. You don't have to do link turn. You don't have to do top to bottom on black slopes. It is a very, very, very basic qualification for a level 1. And then the ASDCI autism spectrum disorder, and cognitive intellectual, which is more of a discussion type thing because there's not skiing is skiing. You teach them skiing like you teach everybody out, but it's more about behaviors and getting reactions and how you can best help somebody with autism or cognitive issues on how to ski, what you should do if things get escalated, learning how to work with people with some cognitive issues. But we will be doing the ski level 1 complete. So we'll do all 4 modules and then we're done. So January is when we do it. We may have to go into February if we miss a night, snowed out, no snow, whatever. We may have to go into February, keep them on the same nights. I think, well, I have another slide coming up. And then the next level after that is ski level 2. So level 1, you have to do 1, 2, 3, 4 in the scale, which we'll get to later. So you have to do 1, 2, 3, 4. You don't have to do link turns and you don't have to do above and beyond that. It's a very, very basic qualification. We may over teach you in some of the things because it's hard to do a visually impaired module. The difference between visually impaired 1 and 2 isn't very great. Maybe a little bit of speed on a harder terrain, but guiding is guiding and helping somebody is helping somebody. So you may get more than what you require for a level 1. If you're all getting it and we can actually move up a little bit, that would be great. Okay. Colin is the NCD technical coordinator. He is the guy that you need to talk to if you need to change anything, if you have a problem. He's the guy that organizes everything. He's the guy that looks after Snowline. He's the guy that tells me where to be and the other instructors here. He tells us when to be and what we're going to teach on that day. So he's a coordinator. Laura is the Calabogie technical coordinator, so she will be helping at Calabogie. Any of the 6 that are at the Calabogie program, between the 2 of them, they can help you out. Carolyn is the CSIA, and she'll be teaching you in a couple of minutes after I'm done. I'll be doing the course level 1 and level 2 at Edelweiss. Level 1 is Wednesday in January. Level 2 is Thursday. And Tim will be doing the course conductor at Calabogie. You will hear, I'm sure, Jeff is really easy and slack. Tim is very, very hard. Different teaching styles, but you'll still get exactly the same information at the end of the day. It's how we present. Tim is more of a question, sometimes a little aggressive on the, but he is very, very good. He is way better than me. It's just different teaching styles. Okay, here we go. First of all, I should have introduced myself at the beginning. Jeff Boucher, I've been with CADS for about 13 years now. I've done visually impaired program, Ski Hawks for just about that whole time. Been at Edelweiss. I spent a lot of time down in Colorado with a week-long program down there, which is phenomenal, and is where I learned most of what I know from CADS, because at the time, 10, 15 years ago, wasn't really a good training program. It was more, yeah, come out for a weekend and we'll give you a qualification for level 1 and level 2. It's way better now. You actually learn a whole lot more, way better structured, way better at everything. So we hope to teach you as much as we possibly can in the time that we're given. That's all I got. Let's go with who's first? Let's go with Luke, just because that's how. So name, years of experience, quickly, no more than 32 seconds.
Okay, Luke Charbonneau, years of skiing experience. Well, I started skiing when I was about 5 years old, but I only skied a few times a year. So I don't know if that counts as skiing experience. I've been more like doing more skiing in the last 5 years since I retired, where I do about 40 to 60 times winter skiing. Years volunteering with CADS. I'm with Ski Hawks since 2019. Which CADS program? Well, Ski Hawks. Where did you learn to ski? I learned to ski at Edelweiss when I was 5 years old. And the way that I learned to ski was like, I was thrown off and like, good luck, kind of. And I used to yell, get out of my way. That's how I learned to ski on my own. So I never took a skiing lesson, except for the ski improvement sessions that Caroline gave me last year.
Cool.
Don't know if that answers all the questions or.
Yep. So you're retired. Are you older than me?
Well, I'm 60 years old, so probably
You're
about
way
the same
younger.
age, I guess.
Way younger. Okay,
Oh, yeah.
Walter.
All right. As you said, my name is Walter. I have about, 30 years of experience skiing. Volunteering with CADS about 4 or 5 years, I think. I'm skiing with the Pakenham people, and I learned to ski in Switzerland.
Ooh,
Nice.
nice.
Lucky.
I am.
Daniel.
Sorry, I was muted. Yeah, my name's Daniel Bartosi. I've been skiing about 30 years. A lot of it has been with different programs. I've been with Ontario Track 3 for about, I don't know, 20 plus years. And I've sort of, I'm just retiring, and I've got a place that I've just moved to up closer to Calabogie. So that's why I'm volunteering there. I started with Calabogie last year, and I learned to ski in Collingwood area.
In where? Sorry.
In Collingwood.
Huh, cool.
Yeah, and Jeff, we've met a few. I was down Aspen with you a few times as well.
Yeah.
Now look-
I was looking at the name and going, I know that name, but I don't know where from.
Yeah. So I was down there. Well, I was down there for 2-3 years as well.
Ah, good. Yeah, I remember you now.
Okay.
Who else we got? Suzanne.
Okay, so my name is Suzanne Reed, and I might be the oldest one here. I've been skiing since age 5. Started out in Edelweiss because Mount Pakenham didn't exist then yet. Spent most of my young years at Pakenham. I did get my level 1 ski instructor in the late 70s, early 80s. So I taught at Edelweiss and I taught at Mount Pakenham. I have 0 years of volunteering with CADS. So I am new to that part of it, but definitely not new to the skiing.
Perfect. It's okay. Nothing's changed in CSIA since 1979. Who else? Kirk.
Hey, Kirk, started skiing when I was about 7. Been skiing hard for the last like 4 years. It's going to be my 2nd year with Calabogie CADS. Yeah, that's about it.
Cool. Actually, I got. Where are you doing the course at? Edelweiss or Calabogie?
Calabogie.
No, for some reason I have you on the Edelweiss side, but that doesn't make any sense if you're from. Okay, I scratched shop.
I think I may have accidentally signed up for 1 or 2 of the courses through the ski portal mistake. So I was gonna go in there and
Eliminate one.
eliminate them, but yeah, I
Okay.
believe I'm signed up for mostly Calabogie, but I think I hit 1 or 2 Edelweiss.
Okay, I'll get Colin to eliminate you from Edelweiss.
All right, awesome. I appreciate it.
And Grant.
Hi guys, my name is Grant Edgar. Years of experience. So a few of us have gone through this. I started when I was 9 years old, skied all through my teens and into my 20s, and then gave it up. And I've been skiing for the last 13 years with my kid who got involved in CADS. So he's been involved since he was like 4 years old, and he's got Down syndrome, my son Simon. And so I've been volunteering with CADS in one shape or form for probably about half a dozen years, but we've been involved in the program as a family since 2009, and worked with Kathy Coulthard. I'm sure some people know her name. She was Simon's teacher initially. And we worked with the Pakenham program, and I learned to ski in Kamloops in BC.
Nice. Everybody starts in nice places.
Yeah.
Who else do we have? Leslie?
My mute. Sorry about that. I've been running between meetings and I actually started this in the car. So I'm just trying to get settled up. So I'm Leslie Turcott. I have been skiing for, we'll say 30 plus years. I was with CADS in the early 2000s out of Barrie. And then I haven't been with CADS since. And I also, so I did training with Dave O'Brien. I don't know if that means anything.
Yeah, Dave.
So David and I are really good friends, and I was on the Ontario board back in the early 2000s. And before that, I did adaptive ski training, and I had volunteered. I was living in Niagara, so I'd cross over to Ellicottville. I don't remember the name of the program, but down in upstate New York. And I'm not sure where you have me, because I signed up thinking Calabogie, and then nobody wanted to drive with me. So then I've been calling saying, can I switch to a different hill, and where do you need people? And I'll ski somewhere.
Sorry, you to volunteer somewhere?
Yeah, I signed up to volunteer with Calabogie, but then my friend who was going to drive with me doesn't want to drive. So then I've been speaking to people saying, is there any chance I could do Camp Fortune or Edelweiss or
No,
one of
no,
the
no, no. You're coming to Edelweiss.
Camp Fortune.
No, you guys,
Well,
you guys
we'll
got
be
too many.
fighting for you. Don't leave Calabogie. Anyways, we can definitely sort that out. I can call you tomorrow, Leslie, and give you some input.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, yeah. And when she's done with you, just sign up at Edelweiss. And
Or talk to me about ski hawks.
you can tell volunteers are precious.
Yes.
And who else do we have? Got Todd?
Yeah, Jeff. So my name's Todd Hicks. I started skiing when I was a wee lad, and I won't date myself, but took some time off from life takes, its own course. Started volunteering with CADS in the 1920 season, and pretty much fell in love with it and committed to it, and even went out to the event out in Kamloops that year that we got half a week of what we were calling structured fun, because we couldn't actually teach. So I ski primarily with Edelweiss. I've been thinking about branching out to Calabogie this year as well, but nothing hard firm yet.
You can bring Leslie with you to Edelweiss on Sunday.
Well, that came up.
Okay.
And so I learned to ski in mostly Massachusetts and Vermont as a kid, living in Connecticut. So.
And Todd's not on any of the courses. He took it last year, but he's just monitoring. And Marius, who is
sitting in as a
level 2.
refresh.
Is still there, Marius?
Oh yes, you want me to introduce myself? Okay, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I first started with the CADS in 1995, but Paulie Melamel introduced me to CADS. I did it for 5 years in Edelweiss. And then I came back, I think it's 7 years ago with Ski Hawks. And since, with Ski Hawks, I did my CSIA level 1 and level 2 also of CADS.
Cool. As far as I know, you're the only level 2 that I have. There's only one name on the list. Anyway, that's everybody that I think. Is there anybody else on the call that I missed?
I can just quickly introduce myself.
Yeah.
So it's Laura. Sorry that I'm blacked out, but I'm in the countryside and the bandwidths are not the best. So I'm Laura, and my years of experience are about 28 years. And then my years of volunteering has been about 10 years. And then the CADS program I'm with is Calabogie, but I've also been with Mont Cascade, as well as Track 3 in Collingwood at Craigleith. And that is exactly where I learned to ski, was at Craigleith in Collingwood. And that is
You must have rich parents. Nice.
Oh, hey. Moving on to Carolyn.
Oh, you want me to introduce myself?
Sure.
I'd hate to say how many years I've been skiing, but over 50. Volunteering with CADS for 35, this is my 35th year. So I've been with Ski Hawks for all 35 years. And I've been technical director of that program. I've been president. I've been pretty much everything. Now I'm doing a lot of the ski training for the volunteers, but I will also be guiding when needed. And learned to ski at Camp Fortune. So I kind of a Camp Fortune girl. That's why I'm saying, Leslie, come on down to Camp Fortune.
No.
Oh,
right.
And I've been with the CSIA for 25 years. So this is my 25th year with the Canadian Ski Instructor Alliance. So through the years, I got supported through CADS getting all my levels of skiing. So I'm a level 3 instructor, level 1 coach, and level 2 CADS. But all of that was supported through all my years of volunteerism, and CADS and NCD will support you getting your levels at certain levels depending on your commitments to the programs. So my hats off to CADS for getting me to where I am.
So if anybody wants to do CSIA CADS, NCD will pay half, and some of the programs will cover the other half as well. Edelweiss hasn't in the past, but we have some monies, so we can do the other half for about 4 people this year. Okay, I got about 2 more slides and they're going to be quick. So everybody should know what's going on. Those are all the courses, the preseason courses that are going to go on. The first one is there and keep going. There is CSIA 17 December at Pakenham. Will be on snow, 9 to 3:30 with Carolyn. I don't know if she has anybody helping her. It's a pretty big group, but nope, good. And then 26th of December, Sitski. Colin has a little thing on how to set up a sit ski. He'll put it up on the web where it's, I don't know, half hour of how to set up a sit ski. So we'll just do that virtually on your own, not as a group. At Calabogie, those are the dates that you're on for from 1 to 4, so afternoons. Edelweiss will be Wednesday evening, starting on the 4th, 6:30 to 9. Be on time, please. And the cert days are the 4th and 5th of March, which are Saturdays, Sundays. So you see February, we don't have you, but really if you can get with your program and if you can get paired up with somebody, if you have a weakness that you want to exploit with your program, please, please, please ask them, and I'm sure they will help you out.
I'm going to interrupt there. Those that are at Calabogie, feel free to reach out to me as a resource. That is Laura.
Okay, do we have to pay? No, the training events are free. Certification costs $50. You have to pay through Snowline. When you're successful, you give your $50 back. If you fail, you got to pay it yourself. No, they'll give you your money back anyway, but I don't think anybody can fail a level 1 unless they don't show up for any of it. So focus on what you need to do. Don't worry about the money part, and don't worry about panicking over anything. We'll help you out as much as we can. Virtual sessions are recorded. I already told you that. On snow will not be recorded, obviously. Also, people who attended the session catch. So if you have to miss a session, like I'm going to be up at the ski hill every Wednesday and Thursday. I'm retiring in March, so Wednesday, Thursday, I'm going down to a 3-day work week. I will be at the hill Wednesday, Thursday, even in February. If you want a little bit more time, let me know and we'll give you a little extra time. Even if you're off with the Calabogie program and want to come to Edelweiss, the one other thing I want to mention is we will be doing either a 1 or a 2-day tethering clinic at Edelweiss towards the end of December. This is a really bad year because Christmas is on a Sunday, so we may be doing a Saturday and part of the or a Friday and part of the day Saturday. I don't know if most people probably aren't working between then, but it's strictly on tethering, sit ski, stand up, whatever you want, but it's tethering and you'll get a full day of it and it really, really helps. And that's all I have.
I will add just quickly, those that are at Calabogie, we have our pre-season warm up for the entire volunteer group on the same day Carolyn has her session. So we have a second day that you can obviously still come out, and we do encourage that. But if things aren't lining up, then please reach out to Jeff to do the one at Edelweiss. I'm sure that you'll have a great time there. The last thing I'll add before handing off to Carolyn is that you must be a member of CADS in order to be part of this on snow session. So if you have not signed up to be a member, to pay your dues, that allows us to have you on the ski hill with us. So please remember to do that if you have not done that. So
I think I stopped sharing.
yes, you did a good job. I'm gonna now put Carolyn.
This is the first time in my life I've ever started and stopped sharing somewhat correctly.
Jeff, can I ask a question?
Yes.
You were talking about between Christmas and New Year that there's going to be additional on snow.
Yep.
That's not part of our calendar. Are we going to be like receiving an email or something? Do
Yep.
we register to those? How does it work?
Yeah, I'll put it on, I haven't put it in, I'll put it on Snowline. I send a email to all the coordinators and then
Okay.
anybody can sign up. I get some free ski passes for training at the beginning of the season. It won't cost you anything.
Okay.
We just have 4 or 5 of our instructors that come out and help out.
Okay, so I guess you'll send us an email to let us know if we want to register for that.
Yep.
Thank you, Jeff.
Jeff, can you hear me?
Yes.
I didn't have a chance to introduce myself.
Oh, I asked if there was anybody else. Nobody spoke up. Go ahead.
I put my hand up, but okay. So
Oh,
my name-
I only had a few people because the screen was sharing. Sorry.
that's okay.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. My name's Chantal, and I started skiing in my teens, and I learned how to ski with my own children at Camp Fortune. And I retired in 2019 and joined CADS in January 2020.
What program are you with?
With CADS at, Calabogie.
Kabalogi? Okay.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I have unhosted Jeff and I have now hosted Carolyn. And so I think you should be able to share your screen now.
Okay, bear with me, everybody. I have to share my sound and optimize for video clip. Share.
Nice.
Uh-oh. That's not good. What are you, you're not, what you're, huh.
We're just
Okay.
probably seeing your full screen. If you go down to find your presentation, yep,
Yes,
we see it there. That's okay.
I shall look for it. There it is.
Yeah.
I'm
And
sorry.
that's okay if we see your whole screen.
And this bar at the bottom, I was with Colin the other day and we just couldn't get rid of it. So I apologize for this bar, but I'll go from there. So from current slides, everybody can see this?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So bear with me. I'm going to be showing a couple of video clips during this too. So I've practiced, and not the greatest Zoom person, but thank you for attending. This is my second year doing this, and each year I get a little bit more information and a little less information too. So it's 7:30. I don't plan on going on for an hour. I feel that we're going to gain more from being on snow, but the intent of today is to give you a little bit more of a background so that when we get on snow together on the 17th at Pakenham, you've got a little bit of you'll have a chance to look at the videos. You'll have a chance to look at the NCD website where Colin has posted a lot of the stuff. And you'll just kind of get on snow and we'll get running, because teaching somebody how to teach skiing, which is my role here, to do it in 5 hours or 5.5 hours is kind of impossible, but I can certainly give you a general overview and get you running. For some of you who have already been working with CADS for several years, obviously it might click a bit quicker. For any of you who have a little bit of background from being taught lessons, maybe it's going to happen. But my job is just to kind of give you the basic concepts of the terminology you're going to be hearing throughout your course, your CADS level 1 course, and hopefully get you more comfortable with your volunteers and how to get at it. And that's how I got involved with ski teaching. I was volunteering with Ski Hawks probably for about 10 years before I decided I wanted to be a better volunteer. And so I decided to go and get my CSIA level 1. And from there, I just kind of got sucked into the ski school at Camp Fortune. And I was at the bar at the wrong time and beside the ski school director, he was desperate. And so I've been teaching at Camp Fortune for 24 years also. This is my first year not teaching skiing. All I'm doing is CAD stuff. So that's kind of a bit of the background. The agenda, this looks big. Don't worry, it's not that big. I just kind of giving you a bit of a feel for it. And I'm just going to move this bar somewhere. And I'll stick it up here. So we're going to see a video on the fundamentals of skiing, and another video on the collaborative approach, which is for anybody that's been involved with CADS. It's the same as the AOT in the sense. It's kind of the same. I think CADS kind of pulled this collaborative type of approach from the Alliance, or we work together to pull these approaches together. But it's basically working with your client to give the best results. Talk about ski objectives and skills, a little bit about priming and reflection, anger management, talk a bit about the on-snow agenda that we'll have when we're at Pakenham, and then just kind of Colin's thrown in some slides at the end of this presentation on the expectations of the course, basically of what the expectations will be from your course examiners at the end of the season. So that being Tim or Jeff, and I'll show you where to find resources and questions. So I'm going to kind of go through it quickly enough, but jump in. I can't see hands right now, so I'll rely on Laura or Jeff to let me know if there's a hand, or if you just want to jump in and ask a question, go ahead.
So Carolyn, it's Jeff. Just one thing that's very, very important for everybody that's taking, you can have cheat sheets. You can have skills on a piece of paper, put them in your pocket and pull it out and use it. This isn't a memory game. So write down 10, 15 different things that you know how to teach and use those in the thing. It's perfectly legal to pull out a piece of paper with what you want to teach.
I actually have a cheat sheet that's on the CADS NCD site right now with all sorts of examples of different things you can use. I don't know if anybody can see this. Oh, you can't see right now, but I have a book because I've been ski teaching for so many years. I actually have a book divided up with the skills, and every time I go to a lesson, so I've just spent 2 days at Tremblant lessons. Anytime I get a new concept or a new idea on how to teach something, I throw it in my book so that I can use it in the future. Somebody's not on mute. I'm just wondering if everybody could just check to see if they're on mute. All right, thanks. I'll jump right in. So this is, when you see this slide, like I did the first time, I go, what? I had to go back and watch it a couple more times. So Colin has put this on the CADS NCD site under resources. And it basically just talks a little bit for anybody interested in understanding sort of why we change direction and how we do it. Talk a bit about the basis support, which is basically your feet and the ground around it, and then center of mass, where in your body kind of sits itself over it. So this is an actual Canadian Ski Instructor Alliance video, and it's just about 5 minutes. So sit back and relax, and let's see if I can get this right. So I have to click on the video. And I go here. And here we go. You see that, Jeff? Can people see that?
Yeah, looking good.
Nice.
In 1687, Sir Isaac Newton released a set of theories which changed the world forever. For over 3 centuries, the predictions made by his laws of motion have held firm against scientific scrutiny and led to countless examples of incredible human achievement. Mechanized flight, traveling to and landing on the moon, setting the ISS into orbit around the Earth, and arguably the most impressive accomplishment of all, the perfect wedge turn. Okay, so maybe that last one is a bit of a stretch, but believe it or not, the laws that govern large-scale events of our universe are exactly the same as those which enable skiers to move freely around the mountain. Exploring and understanding the basic principles at play within our sport can help any ski instructor be more accurate and effective in how they think about and make decisions around developing skiing. Now, there's a lot to learn here, so for now, let's keep it simple and consider just a few ideas. Journey through the physics of skiing begins with a chairlift ride. With every passing tower, our bodies accumulate more and more potential energy. Work is done by the chairlift upon our mass, and this energy is what drives our motion. Once at the top of the chair, the force of gravity begins converting potential energy into kinetic energy by accelerating our mass along a single line of motion. An equilibrium is reached when the forces of friction, like our skis against the snow and the air against our bodies, exert on our mass an equal and opposite force to that of gravity. Skydivers in freefall experience this as terminal velocity, and it marks the moment at which no further acceleration can occur. Assuming terminal velocity is rarely our preferred state while skiing, at some point other forces must intervene and push on us so that we can begin to control the speed and direction of our mass. For this to happen, We have to change the orientation of our skis on the snow against our line of motion. We do this through muscular effort, and when we do, we produce the key ingredient for turning, a steering angle. Through the use of rotational control actions, a steering angle establishes the potential for direction change. When combined with edging, a reaction force from the snow is produced that can serve all of our speed and direction control needs. This force pushing on us from the snow is referred to as the ground reaction force, which is actually not just one, but rather a combination of forces simplified into a single trajectory. The three main component forces are a turning component, which pushes us across the hill, a slowing component, which resists the force of gravity pulling us down the hill, and a perpendicular component, which resists our weight and keeps us connected to the surface of the snow. It's through our blend of skills that we harness these forces to varying degrees to control our speed, direction, or both. For example, a turn that is carved conserves more momentum than one that is drifted because it has more of the turning component and less of the slowing component. On the other hand, if we twist our skis far enough across our line of motion, we can eliminate the turning component entirely and simply oppose the force of gravity along its own vector. In this case, we can manage speed without changing direction at all. By blending these components in varying amounts, we can determine A, where we want to go, and B, how quickly we want to get there, as the system described here offers enough versatility to manage every possible scenario that requires a change in speed, direction, or both. As we become familiar with the idea of ground reaction force, we can view its trajectory as a reference for balance. We are said to be in balance when the trajectory of the force coming up from the ground passes between our feet and through our center of mass. The more force that's present within a turn, the more important it becomes to establish a stable state of balance. But in skiing, it's often necessary to create imbalance as well, as a means of setting our center of mass and base of support along their own respective pathways. The independence of these two pathways is integral to us being able to turn at all. This intentional unbalancing is referred to as toppling. When the ground reaction force trajectory moves above our center of mass, we'll be able to move towards the center of the turn. And when it dips below it, we'll move away from the center of the turn. So by manipulating this relationship, we're able to control how far inside the arc we wish to travel, as well as how quickly we wish to travel from one arc to the next. Sir Isaac Newton is among the greatest thinkers who have ever lived. And if his laws of motion have taught us anything, it's that physics offers the truth, nothing more and nothing less. In the same way that air and space travel were achieved through an immense amount of thought, time, and experimentation, we encourage you to read, discuss, explore, and experiment with these concepts in your own skiing and teaching. As ski instructors, familiarity with the rules of physics in our sport can serve to guide us to greater knowledge and skill through unbiased consideration of how skiing works.
They never even asked me if they could use my skiing in that film.
I have to
Well
remember.
done. Well done.
I wish.
I have to remember what to do here. Escape video. I escaped it. Exit the slide. I see you there. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to escape it. There we go. Okay, we're back on track. And I think I go out of here. We're back here. All right, so that was a little bit.
Carolyn, just to let you know, you have to go back to share your screen unless is anyone else.
Shoot. Where does it say share screen?
Should be at the bottom.
There's a big green button with an up arrow.
Yeah, it's not there.
Oh.
That's funny because that didn't happen before with Colin. Sorry, guys.
That's okay.
No problem.
It's okay.
No problem.
Not a work meeting. It's
Okay, so how am I going to share this screen again unless I go back out? Maybe I'll exit. No ideas?
What are you seeing on the screen? Are you seeing your
I'm seeing
presentation?
my video.
You might press the escape key. You might be in full screen mode.
Okay, here we go again. Here, I got an idea here. Here we go.
Okay,
Can you
who
see
was
now?
that man?
So I'm sharing my screen right now. Now can
There you go. There you go.
Oh boy, it's
Awesome.
Perfect.
to make it way through too that I can screw up. All right, so obviously a little bit technical. I was obviously get you also excited for skiing. That sort of video I went back and watched a few times, only because perhaps I'm been ski teaching for so long, and I'm teaching other people how to teach. But you're not necessarily going to need to know anything like this for your level ones, but as individuals who may be interested in pursuing getting more involved with ski teaching and working with CADS as volunteers, it's having an idea of these concepts kind of helps. Just understanding, especially with working with some of your clients who are not able to resist the gravity, and they're not able to put their ski on edge, and they're sliding down the hills, and sort of understanding the concepts. Whether or not this is going to mean anything to you, I don't know, but Colin thought this is a good idea. So I pass that along. Moving on to basically everything we do as ski instructors, knowing your learner, as I say here, the ask, the observe, the test is pretty much the same idea as you see in this video as our collaborative approach, what we do with the Ski Alliance. Anybody that's been involved with the Ski Alliance in the past or involved with CADS in the past, terminologies have changed a little bit, but it's all the same stuff. It's all about how we approach our clients and working with them. So I'm going to start, before I go any further, with another video, and this one will explore a little bit more about what we do with our learners. And this time we'll try again. I can do this part well. Okay. Your screen is paused. Why? Here we go.
I'm still seeing the presentation. I'm not sure if anybody else is seeing the video.
Okay.
It's no secret that the most effective and enjoyable learning environment.
I hear it though. There it is. It's coming up.
Teacher.
All right, it says my screen is paused.
So I think it's thinking.
It's no secret that the most effective
Pause your video still until we see
enjoyable learning environments result. Learners learn best when they're heavily involved in the creation of their own knowledge.
Please move this window away from your share. Okay, I'm going to go out for a second.
And offers a
I'm sorry about this technical. You are screen sharing now. You can see my presentation now?
Yes.
You can see the presentation, yep.
Okay, so we're going to go back into. This is very interesting the way it's everything worked so well before. That's interesting. What's that? Oh my God, this is amateur hour. I'm sorry, folks.
It's okay.
I'm better on snow.
It makes me feel better.
Carolyn.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for making me seem like a computer genius. Because I feel your pain right now.
But you know, the funny part is Colin and I worked through this. And now when I'm pressing on it, okay, I'm just going to completely get out of my presentation. Exit it.
Do you have a link that you can just copy and paste it into your internet browser?
This says you want to save changes. All right, here we go again. Let's try this again. This is my presentation again. From current slide. Are you seeing what I'm doing right now? I'm on a
Yep.
slide. Okay.
Yep, we see your slide.
Okay, I'm just waiting for it to. It could be my internet here. It's hard to say. Now, do you see it? Do you see a slide that says collaborative teaching?
Yeah, we can see
No.
the slide.
It
No.
says my screen sharing is paused.
Well, maybe is it possible that we can go on to your next slide and then potentially come back?
Okay, so you're not.
Or do
seeing-
you have a link?
Actually, I've got one suggestion. If you go to slide 4, where it has that video, on the bottom right
left?
corner, on the bottom right corner of that video, there's a V. That's Vimeo. If you click on that, it should take you to another browser window to show the video by itself. So it's just the same as having a link. No, don't get out of that. No,
Okay.
go to your slide 4.
All right,
Yep.
slide
Yep.
4.
Yep, and you see, yeah,
So click that.
the slide. We're not seeing that. Yeah, if you click on slide 4.
See, that didn't work before.
Oh, I see.
I'm just moving that stupid
Okay.
thing. Before it would work because it would go into in here, Microsoft Edge.
Okay.
So I'm just going to exit. So now I'm into the slide. There we
Okay. Yeah.
go.
So go back to slide 4 there. See
Yeah.
that nice font of a V in the lower right corner of the black box?
This one there.
Oh no, on your PowerPoint, go
Yeah.
back.
So yeah, right
Far
on
right.
that black box there. Go to the far right, lower
Oh,
right.
here.
Set that
Yeah.
V. Yeah. Can you click on that?
No,
Oh.
it's a
Oh, I see. Okay. Sorry. It looks like it's a screenshot of it. Essentially, that V takes you to the video.
yeah, and then I don't know why it worked for the last one and it's not working for this one. Okay, I'm just gonna talk about
Yeah.
it. Bad.
You're in edit mode of the presentation. You need to go full screen of the presentation for that link to work.
Yeah.
But I was doing that. So when I went down, I was like, I exit here. Well, now I'm out of my presentation. Go back in. I'm just, I'm wondering if in Zoom I stopped with the sharing somehow. But you can see this video, right? You can see this presentation right now.
Yep.
Yes.
And if I go to current slide. And it says you are screen sharing. And
Yes.
then I'm going to click on it. It asks me any potential problems. You want to continue? Yes. And typically now it would, I'm wondering if it's you are screen sharing. I clicked on the video once, that's the thing. See, it's not, I think it might be the internet here maybe. So I'm not going to keep doing this. So I'm going to get back into my presentation. I'm sorry, folks. I'm going to go right back out again. It's too bad because it's a really good video. But you can see that video on the CADS NCD site. Colin has posted it there. And so we'll be able to go from there. So you're all with me now on this?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm sorry, folks. So I'll start right from the beginning then. The concept of ski teaching is knowing your learner. And it's the same part of it. So the first screen here is about the ask. When I meet a client, the first thing I'm going to do, and when I meet you guys on snow, I want to know where you're at psychologically. Did you have a rough day at work? Did your dog just run away? What's going on in your life that might affect the lesson? So this is something you're going to want to do with your CADS people. Physically, obviously with CADS, you're going to want to know about the disabilities or the limitations that your clients have. What are their goals? And because without knowing their goals, you're not going to have a good lesson. They may just want to come out and have fun, where you in your mind think, oh, I want to get Johnny to really make some short radius turns. So you've got to know where they're coming from. You got to know a little bit about what they've done in the past, where they've skied, how long they've skied, their experience. And then you're going to have to assess them to understand their skill level. So as an instructor, for me doing a 1 hour lesson, I have to do all that very quickly so that I can move forward with the lesson. And moving forward with the lesson means I have to see them ski, so that knowing their skill level. So you'll see that on Snow with Me first day. I'm going to sit down, we'll chat quickly, then we'll do a run together so I can just see where everybody's at. I can't design a lesson or know what I'm going to do individually with a client unless I see their skill level and understand where they want to go from. So basically creating an experience. I'm designing a task based on my learner, my candidate. I have to look at the situation or the environment. I need to look at the safety aspects. Is it snowing? Is the snow heavy? Is it icy? Is it a really super busy day at our sites? And I'm going to be concerned about where I'm going to put the client. Are there race courses set up on the hill? I have to kind of do a real picture of where I'm at. For me, going to Pakenham for the first time on the 17th, I'll be relying on any Pakenites to help me out because I don't know the hill. If I can get there earlier, I will and do a couple runs just so I understand the snow conditions and understand my environment. Next, getting into the lesson, you want to see where your candidate is at. So this is where you start getting into CSIA kind of terminology. The objective of your lesson could be based on mobility. And for those, most people, they would think mobility is moving joints, jumping up and down, that kind of thing. And mobility in our world at the Alliance is more about making sure your client can get around in the environment and understand how to move around in the environment and maybe move on to hills. So it could be something like teaching them how to get up when they fall, teaching them how to put on their skis, how to work a binding. It's basically helping them move around to a point where you can get them skiing and learning to ski. Mobility at a higher level could just be moving them from a very beginner hill into an intermediate hill. So developing their skills so you can move them along. So it's kind of a little bit different from moving your joints and jumping around, which is a terminology that was used in the past that way. Gliding is another objective, just getting them to feel the skis move, getting them, so at a basic level or gliding level could just be walking and sliding or just pulling across a flat surface. It could be sliding down, slip sliding a bit, just getting the feeling for the movement of the ski. Sometimes you'll see skiers coming down the hill and they're constantly turning and zigzagging down because they're trying to find a way to stop. There's no glide in between. They're not really getting a chance to set themselves up for the next turn, to have a good turn. Direction change, that's kind of obvious, learning how to change directions. And some skiers, that can involve just getting their turns rounder instead of zigzag in shape. But that could be a big one. The first video talked about a steering angle. If you're not having your clients turning your skis, let's say to face the skis to slow down, to face the trees to slow down, then you're going to have a little bit of an issue with speed management, which is the final thing, learning how to stop. Managing your speed, so when you're coming down the hill, you're not picking up speed as you go. Typically, somebody who's picking up speed as they go is because they're not finishing their turn. They're not getting enough direction change. So this is the kind of thing when I come to a lesson, I have to kind of pinpoint what's the key issue here. Is if it's a beginner who's never even seen snow and they're just walking out of the lodge with their skis all over the place, I'm going to start with mobility. If it's somebody that has a bit of mobility and they've been in their skis before but are absolutely petrified, maybe I'm going to get them gliding in a flat area or a flat zone. If it's somebody that we get up the hill and I can see that they're making zigzag turns so they're not effectively turning to be able to control their speed, then maybe I'll work on direction change. Or if it's somebody in a beginner level, they've never learned how to stop, we're going to start with speed management. So it's always as a volunteer, and a lot of you are experienced already, you know that you have to make a decision each time on where you're going to go with your client. And you also, of course, have to consider their wishes. And then finally, the skills needed. Anybody that's been around the ski world for a long time, and or even reading some of the CADS manuals, will see it as they'll hear the words stance and balance, they'll hear the words pivoting, they'll hear edging, timing and coordination. These are all, they're all skills, and they're now packaged and blanketed in this new concept of rotational control, edging control, and pressure control. Rotational, basically the movement of the upper and lower body to complete the turn. Edging, which is involving angulation, inclination. We'll talk a lot about this on snow. And pressure control, which is really your balance. So whether it's a fore and aft balance or vertical, horizontal. So these are all the kind of the skills that you'll be hopefully instituting with your clients as we move on. Any questions so far? It's kind of it's all techie kind of stuff.
All good.
Nope.
Okay. After I've given a task, so let's say I've got Jeff Boucher at the top of the hill, and I've assessed his skiing and seeing that he's having a difficult time managing his speed. He's picking up speed when he gets into the steeper sections of the hill. So then I've got to give him a task. I've given him the task of every time he turns his skis or makes a turn, I want him to fully have his skis facing the trees before he starts his next turn. So I want to see if that's going to help him change direction smoother, but also help him learn how to manage his speed better by completing the turn. I watch him come down. I look at my objective was to help him manage his speed. I'm looking at the outcome. What was the outcome? If he comes down with a big smile on his face and says, wow, I just managed that steep run for the first time. Sorry, Jeff, I'm picking on you. So then we would talk, reflect, did that work? Well, yeah, it was pretty good, but maybe I picked up speed a little bit at the bottom. Yeah, you stopped facing your skis towards the trees. So we have discussions, and sometimes what you've given them may or may not work. So you might have to change the task. So it's all kind of this is all part of the collaborative approach, and all a part of how important it is to constantly be chatting with your learners or and chatting, talking to them and seeing if it's working for them. Was that a hard thing to do? Let's try it a different way. Remembering, and I've put down here the development skill, remembering whenever you give somebody a new task, just like for anything, whether it's cycling or golf or any other sport, when you first learn how to do it, you're just in an initiation stage. You're just kind of feeling it out. You may have to go back and practice it several times before you can move it forward. Same as skiing. Once somebody kind of gets it and the light bulb goes on, we call that acquisition. And that's at a point where you can then move the client along. And maybe then you could, let's say, change the slope, make it steeper, or you could change the speed of the turns that you're making, or you could just maybe repeat what you were doing until they get it really well. So consolidating it. So with anything, don't expect miracles to happen on the first session. It could be weeks with some of our clients in CADS before they're really going to grasp a concept, or some of them will grasp it right away because they have experience. So basically, I'm kind of repeating myself, but once I see success and I see something happening and I see it working, I'm going to move it along. I had an example. I gave a level 1 course last year, and I wanted the students coming down and be an easy run at Camp Fortune, Allen's Alley. I talked to them a little bit about fore and aft balance, pressure control, and I said, I want you guys to go down the hill knowing that you should be in the center of your ski the whole time. And every time you make a turn, I want you to yell out loud, whether you're in the front of your boot, in the middle of your boot, or in the back. And so they thought that was fun. I thought it was kind of cool too, but as they came down, you could hear them most of the time yelling out middle, 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 and they were all pretty proud of themselves at the bottom because they came down, they had a task, they were pretty successful at it because it was an easy run. So I changed their environment. I basically took them to a steeper hill, and I did the same task. I said, we're going to do the same thing, guys. Same thing. I want you to yell out where you are. This time I started hearing back seat, front seat, middle, back seat, back seat, back seat. And at the bottom, they all kind of had this aha moment of, ah. So we went back and did it again. And this time we did it with a drill. I gave them a drill to make it easier for them. So I was just kind of repeating the task on a different run. And I could have used that same drill on several runs or in different aspects throughout the whole day if I wanted to. I didn't have time, or I would have. So just give you an idea that sometimes you have to stick with the same thing over and over and over again. Other times you can alter it or move it. And now we'll get into these little ski objectives. We've already talked about it a bit, the mobility, getting the skis on, the gliding, speed control, direction change, kind of already taught. And at the top, it used to be called the fast track to parallel, and now it's called ski objectives. I think they do this just to mess around with us as course conductors. So technical for direct, I've sort of talked a little bit about this, basically how we change, let me move this bar, how we change direction. So pressure control is, funny, that's all we were working on the past 2 days for me up here at Tremblant, and all about fore and aft balance on our skis and our moving our joints to be able to maintain the balance getting around the turns. That's probably the biggest skill that you're going to be working on with your clients, just because I know when I'm teaching skiing at Camp Fortune, if I'm doing a 9-week program, probably the first 2 or 3 weeks, all I'm working on are drills that are going to help with pressure control and balance. It's the only way to get your skier into a point where they're going to be effectively using your edges and effectively turning. And so you really have to focus a lot on that. It could be all you focus on with your client, but you can throw in the other stuff too. Pivoting, used to be called pivoting, rotational control, turning that's led by the lower body. The ski design is a big thing. I still see skiers coming out the hill with straight skis, and that's a whole different concept on learning how to turn a ski than it is on the newer shaped skis. Same thing with the clients. Sometimes clients will come out and their parents are bringing with them equipment that the clients, they used when they were young and figuring out speaking for their kids. So you may have to make some adaptations or see if you can find any. A lot of people volunteer their equipment or give equipment to the programs. You might be able to find them some skis that work a little bit better, help them turn. And then finally, edge control. We're getting a little bit more into this skier, as you see here, is highly on edge, totally angulated, and she's inclined and then angulated. So her body's turned so that their weight is over her outside ski. You can't really see that from this picture. It's not a really good picture to demonstrate that. But once your clients start getting stronger on their skis and putting their weight on the outside ski or downhill ski and starting to move their feet into the direction of the turn before their upper body, you're going to start seeing separation. You're going to start seeing them be able to get their skis more on edge. That's kind of sort of moving along, but the exciting part for them when they can finally start getting a little bit more technical in their turns, just like most of us can. I threw in this section because this is something that's I find very important, especially working with skiers with limitations. Priming kind of helps them understand what you're doing, why you're doing it, explaining it with them. It helps if they're working with you and they're telling you what they want to learn. It helps, enhances their expectations. So if I say to somebody, when you're coming down the hill and you're going to turn your skis to face the trees because I want to slow you down, you're going to feel yourself almost come to a stop. And then you're going to move on to the next turn, but you will feel a difference. I want to tell them what they're going to feel or hope what they're going to feel so that they have a little bit of an expectation. And then when they get down to me, we can chat about whether that was good or not. But it's just kind of like anything. You want to know that if I'm going to hit the ball golfing and my golf pro says, if you hit it this way, it's going to go that distance. If I kind of know if he says you hit it another way, it's going to hit the ground, then I have an expectation of what's going to happen. Also helps when you kind of let them know what's going on and what you're doing to reflect with them after, as I just said. these are Colin threw all the pictures in, so I'll have to give him credit for this. Anger, I threw in this because it's something as an instructor we come across at all levels, whether it's adults, teenagers, kids, skiers with limitations. I work primarily with visually impaired blind skiers. You do get anger sometimes because it's a frustration. An anger, especially with little kids or kids with autism, you'll see this a lot, or even adults with autism. It's a definite frustration, and there's definitely a cycle to it. I've seen it. I had a kid last year on the magic carpet at Camp Fortune, 3 years old, could barely ski, didn't want to be there that day, but her mom and dad sort of dropped her with me and said, here, we want her to turn and stop. This little girl didn't want to do anything. She just wanted to be with mommy. So I spent the whole hour basically talking about Disney, sitting in the snow with her. Occasionally I get her up the hill and get her down. But at one point she fell at the top of the magic carpet and she got very embarrassed and she started screaming. So I had her in my lap and trying to calm her down. Her little brother, who was also in lesson, went by and tickled her or did something with her and made fun of her. So that turned this into a huge cycle. I just calmed her down and it went right back up again and it triggered. And it took a long time before we could come back to recovery and then deposit her to her mother and say, take her away. But it happens with 3-year-old. It happens sometimes with adults who they get frustrated because they can't do what you want them to do. They have a physical limitation and they can't turn their leg the way you want them to turn their leg. You kind of have to take it with a grain of salt and understand that if they're responding that way, for sure, you got to try something different because nothing's going to work if they're angry and they're frustrated with what's happening with themselves. I'm sure a lot of you who've worked with CADS before have seen that, but for those of you who haven't, it's okay. You just have to sit down with them and say, okay, that didn't work. Let's see what else can work and be positive. So our day on snow is, I'm going to be using all these terminologies. It's not a lot of time together, but how I'm going to set it up with is, first of all, I'll do a beginner lesson from someone walking out of the lodge and never having been on snow before, up into the point where I can get them turning and stopping. So just kind of here's how I do it. And then we'll also go up as skiers and work on your own skiing. And then with me assessing the skill level of the group, come up with a plan of, I'm going to show you my plan and talk to you throughout the day about my plan of what I'm doing and how I'm doing to improve everybody's skiing. And throughout that time, I'll be giving solutions and ideas. And I have developed a tip sheet that's currently already on the CADS NCD site. I've actually enhanced it a bit, and I asked after today, I'm going to enhance it a bit more with a couple of things I learned today, but that will be something you can take away. And if you pull it off and print it before our lesson on the 17th, it's called, I think it's called Common Problems of Skiing or Ski Tips. It's called Ski Tips. I'm going to update it. So the new one will say Ski Tips 2022. The one on site right now is 2021. But bring it out because there's different things there that you may want to question me about, and that I could show you what they are, and it'll help kind of feed it back. These are tips I found on a table many, many years ago at the ski school, and I use them all the time because they're simple, they're easy. So this will be a session on snow of a lot of a collaboration, a lot of sharing information about experiences, in particular with skiers with limitations. And hopefully we can get out a lot out of it together and cram it all into one day. So it's going to be a busy day, but it should be fun, I hope. And finally, these are expectations of CADS. And basically, so the use of the CSIA terminology right now, that'll be objectives and skills, but I'll be using those throughout the session. And if you go into the CADS manuals, you'll see them. The words might be the older words of CSIA, but I think you'll figure it out. You have to be able to demonstrate the ability to teach appropriately. So you guys will all have a chance to teach when I'm with you. So I'll give you everybody a chance to break out into pairs or threesomes and teach together a concept. And be able to select a goal. So we can even look at, we can do a few sessions where we were watching some people coming down the slopes and kind of look at them, and I'll help you sort of identify what I see happening, and you may be able to tell me what you see happening and how are we going to fix it. So if it's somebody coming down the hill that's obviously way back on their heels, they're never going to be able to balance properly to turn. So how can we fix that? And then we'll come up with some plans together. So I'm going to try to help develop your eye on that, so that you could select achievable goals and tactics for skill development. And then we'll play around with demonstrating some skills, skiing backwards, link turns on a green groom run. These, you're not expected to be teaching at a high level at CADS level 1. You're just supposed to be it's more of at a lower level, beginner people that are newer to the slope. So we're not going to go crazy on high-end techniques, but certainly I'll help you with your skiing and give you skills that can help at all levels.
And then when I get them, I'll teach them how to ski badly, because very often you have to ski badly when you're tethering a sit ski or helping people. So
well, you don't have to ski badly.
You have to ski different than what most people are
Yes.
trying to accomplish with beautiful carved turns. Sometimes
Yeah.
that's not the way we need to ski in CADS.
Yeah, exactly. You have to adapt. So more expectations, just clear articulation, make it fun, be concise with your directions, so and make them simple, make them super simple, so they're going to understand. You don't, and a common error with anybody in the ski industry is giving too many things for a person to learn at the same time. So it's better to focus on one thing. When I run a 9-week program, if I've decided that, okay, my group really needs work on speed management today, I'm only going to work on speed management. Yes, direction change might fall into that, but I'm not going to clutter them up with a lot of different things, and I'm only going to focus on one thing so that they walk away with something to work on. If they want more, I can give them, but simple is easier. Knowing your Alpine responsibility code, safety on the run is really important. We're going to be talking a lot about that while we're on the course. Where to plant yourself on the hill, where to be on the hill, lift management. It says explain the meaning and implications of duty of care. Super important if you're working with kids as well as adults, but even more with kids. And then we'll do some work with the lifties, or not with the lifties, but we'll do some work on loading on the lift. And I'm not going to be teaching you necessarily how to do that, but awareness of how to get somebody on a lift. And we've talked about the AOT, ask, observe, test. Oops. And then I have to move this stupid bar out of the way again. And then presentation, right? Friendly, fun. Make sure if you're somebody that loves to crack jokes and have fun, make sure that your client or your student is somebody that also has a sense of humor. But eye contact is supremely important. Anytime I teach a lesson or I'm working with somebody that has limitations, no matter what, I always have my goggles up so that they can see my eyes. I don't care how cold it is or what it's like. Wearing a face mask, that's fine while you're skiing, but and also we have to be concerned about COVID and diseases, but make sure that they can hear you. If you're wearing a neck warmer or something on it. If you're wearing a full face mask, I wouldn't recommend it when you're working with a client, because then they really can't see you. You've got to develop that connection with them, or you're going to lose them. And when I'm teaching, it's a constant checking in with them. How's it going? How are you doing? Are you cold? How are you feeling? Did that last run help you out? Or do you think we should try that again? Do you want to try something different? Constantly checking in with my client, because if they don't walk away at the end of the day feeling like something good about their skiing that day, then I haven't done my job. And that's, I think, this is the resources page on the CADS NCD site. So you can see there the video on physics of skiing, and this collaborative teaching one. If you can watch it from there, do that, because it's everything I just did, but it'll just sort of cement it in a bit, and it's much better done than what I did it. It's really well done. There's also other level 1 videos on YouTube. I kind of toured around a bit, and Colin has put a few down here, but if you go on to, if you really want to be keen and look at stuff, go on to some videos with CSIA, you'll see all sorts of different stuff on teaching skiing. And then finally, there's my ski tips down here. So I'm just going to update that and send that to Colin tomorrow so that he can update the new one. It really is not a huge amount of changes. And then finally, questions.
So Carolyn, there is a whole bunch of free information on snowpro.com, which is the CSIA
Yes.
website, snowpro.com. They put a lot of stuff on there that's at a good level for what people need right now.
Yeah, and it's under resources.
Yep.
I have a question that I don't expect I get an answer tonight, but just something I'm interested in learning from this entire process from anybody involved is tips and tricks and good ideas to motivate kids towards something. So it's one thing to say, what would you like to learn? But if a kid either can't communicate it or doesn't know what they want to learn, like in the case of my kid, he just wants to go, he wants to have fun. He wants to go straight down the hill. He's not too interested in controlling his speed and things of that nature. And he's actually a very capable skier. He actually knows how to turn and stuff, but it's all about motivating him. So I know from coaching in other sports, half the battle is actually finding what makes it fun. And if you can make the learning a fun thing, then you don't have to, it's not a case of coercing the kid into doing something. It's a case of finding what they find attractive to it, right? So yeah, I'd be interested in learning more about your experience in that area.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Actually, that reminds me because there's a really good booklet from the CSIA on teaching kids in the different age levels. And what I'll try to do is, I don't know how to put it on here. I have a friend that might be able to do that. If not, I can pull off the pages for the different age levels of stuff for kids. And so when I teach a level 1 course, I kind of give that out to my candidates so they have a bit of an idea, because each age group is motivated differently. And depending, but I made a note here for sure. I'll come equipped.
So I'm not sure who's doing the ASDCI module, but there's a lot in there on tricks and tips and and how to best manage expectations and what you can get out of somebody.
Is that on the CADS resources?
No, it's one of the lessons that we do before we get on the snow.
But would that manual already be posted somewhere, or that?
It's in the CADS manual, and there's a presentation that goes with it that everybody will get as well.
Right, and I believe Malcolm will be presenting not next week, but the following on some of that ASDCI stuff. So he might be a really good resource for some of those same questions that you're asking, actually. He does a really good job. I remember he presented that module probably 4 years ago or so.
He did the first presentation on it, and it was very well done.
Yeah, he did it in person at Calabogie with about, I don't know if there was 40 people physically at that one.
Yeah.
There was a good amount of people. And
Great.
Malcolm is the Calabogie operations director.
In that lesson, by the way, anybody that has worked with anybody with some cognitive issues, if you have feedback, anything that you've picked up over the years that has worked or hasn't worked, bring them up, because everybody is different. Everybody has an experience. They found something that worked. It's not going to work for everybody, but you need like a huge toolbox in order to pull out the right thing at the right time. So anybody that has experienced something that worked, bring it up during that presentation. It'll be good for everybody.
Cool.
Well, if there's no more questions.
And we can close the evening. I don't have anything.
I do have a question. I was looking online for the manual itself. I know the manual is quite thick. is there a recommendation you could give us, like prior to each module, what you recommend that we read prior to coming to the module? Or, because I know to read the whole manual in one piece, I don't think it would be a good expectation, because you want to get the most out of it. And I was wondering if there was maybe some guidelines or something that you could give us, so that when we do come to the different module every week, that we've done the appropriate reading. And
Yeah,
So-
that's a great suggestion. Definitely recommend doing that. You'll be able to follow along a lot more, especially if you're with Tim, because he'll be referencing a lot of that material. And how we have it structured in the Calabogie group, and even the presentation that Jeff was showing at the beginning, it kind of shows what's going to be taught on what day. And so the manual itself actually is outlined in those sections. So you'll be able, if you go to the table of contents, and you'll notice teaching techniques. There literally is a section called visual impairment, 3-track, 4-track, SITSKI, ASD, cognitive and intellectual disabilities. So for the on snow days, highly recommend trying to digest some of that information, especially when it comes to the ask, observe, test. There's lots of example questions that helps kind of get you started with your student, and of which that ask, observe, test, I'll be giving that general overview and some of the miscellaneous stuff that's in the textbook next week.
Okay.
And if you do have time before next week, you can certainly just skim through some of it. You definitely don't need to go deep diving, but I'll be able to give you some of that guidance of general concepts of what we're going to be tackling throughout the on snow sessions.
You'll find in the manual there is pages and pages and pages and pages on how to assess somebody.
Okay.
Which, yeah, it's good, but we will never take 5 hours to assess somebody before you go skiing. So do read through it, but when you get into the actual teaching part of it, take that into more consideration. As a level 1, you're really not going to be assessing people, but it's good to know what you should look for strengths, weaknesses. So take that into consideration. It's a level 1 course. You're not really doing a full assessment of somebody. There'll be a more experienced person doing that, helping you. So it's more on how to teach rather than how to assess. But we will bring that up.
Thank you very much. Very helpful.
Any other questions?
No.
I got one here, Justin Burnell.
Okay, go for it.
Are all snow day sessions mandatory? More specifically, if I miss 1 or 2 because I'm out of the country, is this sort of an exercise in futility, or?
So
Justin?
the only mandatory sessions are the assessment days. Like that is where you will be tested. It's just that these are sessions to help prepare you for those. Tim kind of lines you up pretty well of like the style of questions he kind of simulates throughout the training. But what we could do is if you're at the Calabogie site, you can tap on my shoulder, in the month of February.
Edelweiss.
Oh, he's Edelweiss. Sorry.
He's mine.
Okay,
Justin,
he's yours.
if you have to miss something because you're out of the country, we will pick it up. Don't worry.
Okay, thanks.
But that does go for the Calabogie crew. You got my spiel there.
Yeah, I'll go wherever, whenever.
Okay. Well, everyone have a good night. We'll see you next week, and that will be me struggling through Zoom presentations when I'm used to Microsoft Teams. So it's a battle of Zoom versus Teams, but I'm trying to convert for CADS. So
And
we'll,
she has embedded videos too. So Carolyn, you should come on and,
gosh.
oh,
and-
they're gonna be rough.
have a little chuckle.
I'm definitely gonna try. I'm gonna send the links
And
to
I
Jeff.
practiced this so much with Colin, and we had it down pat. I even did it before I got online tonight. I went, okay, that worked really well. What the heck?
It happens.
It's like
Yeah.
doing public math. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Thank you for all
Perhaps we
being
need an
so
adaptive video conference, of course.
Yes. Yes.
All right.
All
well,
right.
I'll see you
Okay, good night.
Yeah,
Bye.
thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you very much.
You.
Good night, thank you.